Welcome to State News and Topics. I'm your host, Dr. Otis Cutler. And so today, first up, we're going to have a long show. But first up, we're going to have County Executive Allan Kittleman. And then after the County Executive, we're going to be talking about the recent uproar in Baltimore over the election results. So feel free to call in at 481-1010, 481-1010. And next up, we're going to get County Executive Allan Kittleman on the phone. Let's see if we can pick him up. Mr. County Executive, are you there?
I am here. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you? Thank you for calling in.
It's good to be with you, Otis.
Well, great. So tell us, how long have you been the County Executive in Howard County?
I was elected to the County Executive spot on November 4th of 2014, so about a year and a half. I've been in office. Prior to that, I spent 10 years in the Maryland State Senate representing Howard and Carroll counties, and then before that, 6 years on the Howard County Council.
So you've been around the county for a while. I know your father was actively... Tell me what your father did in the county. It was a little bit before my time, but I know he's a mainstay in the county. He
sure was. He moved here in Howard County in the late 1950s, and Howard County was very rural back then. It wasn't one of the first developments in Howard County off of Route 29. He moved into that, and I was born after we moved down here. My dad and my mom and my brother and sister, but he got really involved in the community, and he got involved in the civil rights movement. He met a couple named Remus and Leola Dorsey, who lived off of Guilford Road, and he met them, and they asked him to be involved in the civil rights movement, and so my dad said sure, and he became the first white person in Howard County history to join the NAACP chapter in Howard County, and later became its only white president for a time. But the biggest impact I think my dad had working with many other people, not just him, of course, was the integration of the public schools in Howard County. We did not integrate our schools till 1965. My dad was the education chairperson for the local branch of the NAACP at the time. Spent a lot of time with great people like Silas Craft, Morris Woodson, Elhart Fleury, Reverend John Holland, many others. And I'm really proud that he stepped up to do what was right at the time. And even though it wasn't probably the safest thing for him to do, he did that, and he was a type of role model that any son would be happy to have.
Well, Mr. County Executive, Allan Kittleman is on the phone with us, and we thank him for being here. I just had breakfast, actually, ran into a gentleman by the name of Howard Lyles. I've actually never met him, but he told me to tell you hello, and I think he's involved in one of the schools in Howard County. He mentioned something about, is it the Harriet Tubman School?
Yes, actually, Mr. Lyles is a great person as well. The last segregated school in Howard County was the Harriet Tubman School, and it's... The school system still owns it to this day, and they've been using it as a maintenance facility after it closed in 1965. But for decades, many of us in the community have wanted to find a way to save it and preserve it. And so I have worked out, along with the school system, I appreciate their working with me, memorandum of understanding that the building will be turned over to the county. We're helping the school system find an alternative location for the folks who are in that building now. But once that happens, we'll be working with Mr. Lyles and others. There's the Harriet Tubman School Foundation, as of course with the NAACP as well, to make sure that we preserve that building so that the great history isn't lost and that nobody ever forgets the struggle that the people had in Howard County to ensure freedom and equality.
County Executive Allan Kittleman on the phone. County Executive, what are going to be some of your key priorities this year moving forward?
Sure. The Harriet Tubman School is certainly a big one for me to make sure that happens. We put actually $500,000 in our capital budget this year to help remediate some issues inside the building once we get control of it. So that's a huge priority for me because I also think it just goes to the bigger issue of just trying to make sure that we continue to have the discussion about intolerance and injustice and concerns of the way we treat each other. But other than that, education in Howard County, as many people know, we have one of the best school systems in the country. It's because we invest in our educational system. Our school system gets approximately 59% of our entire budget just for our K through 12 education. That's an awful lot of money, but we are committed to continuing that funding to make sure that our students have every resource available to them. So they have quality teachers, which they have, and which we're going to continue to have. So that's for sure huge for us. We also put a lot of emphasis into our libraries and our community college because of the importance of they provide education as well. Public safety. Certainly, government's one of the top priorities of government, chief responsibilities of government is to make sure our communities are safe. One thing that I've been working with our chief of police is we are putting together a pilot program for body-worn cameras for our police officers. We put some funding in the budget this year to do that, to start experimenting, looking at different cameras to see how the program would work. So we're focusing on that. Also, affordable housing. In Howard County, it's one of the difficult things in Howard County is finding housing that's affordable because of our school system being so popular and so well known. People want to move here. It makes our housing expensive. And so we're working with the Downtown Housing Corporation and others to try to find ways in which we can have a comprehensive plan to provide affordable housing throughout Howard County. Working on mental health. May is Mental Health Month. I was at a kickoff this morning, a breakfast to kick off that. So we're putting more money into mental health services, trying to make sure that families and individuals who are suffering with mental illness have the resources they need. There are a lot of things going on, Oz. I could go on for a long time, but you don't have that much time.
Yes, sir. As you mentioned, the school system, so I've got two things I need to talk about. First of all, I was given my honey-do list today. I think you may know, but my wife teaches in Howard County second grade at Centennial Lane, and she said, please make sure you invite the county executive to come by and read to her class. So I'm going to take care of that so I don't have to sleep in the truck.
Yeah. I'd love to do that, but tell her to contact my office. I'd love to come.
Okay, great. We'll do that. So can you update us as we've been talking about schools? I graduated from Oakland Mills in 1984 and very familiar with the school system, and in particular one or two schools that have always even from the 80s, had a reputation of having some challenges as it relates to race relations. So with that, can you share a little bit about the progress of Mount Hebron High School?
Sure. And you're an 84 Oakland Mills graduate. I would have gone to Oakland Mills, but I'm much older than you, Otis, and it wasn't built when I was in high school, and so I went to Appleton.
Okay.
But anyway, we certainly have had a lot of work on the issue of tolerance and of respecting people, being civil in Howard County on the issue of racial and actually even religious intolerance. And so in Mount Hebron, when the incident was put out there on YouTube and Twitter and all those other things, we didn't sit down and just wait for things to happen. We were proactive along with the school system to try to make sure that people understood that this was not going to be acceptable in our county. There was a town hall meeting that was hosted by Bridgeway Community Church.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. David Anderson and the good folks at Bridgeway hosted a town hall. I think it was like less than a week after the incident. I attended that along with our Human Rights Office coordinator, administrator, Dr. Barbara Sands, and others in the school system. I know Dr. Foose, our superintendent, was there. We had a panel discussion. We invited young people as well as their parents. Then shortly after that, we had another event in Howard County in our office building here where I wanted to really focus on young people. I think, if we're going to be able to get young people to understand how hurtful words and actions can be, we need to have the young people take control of that. I really believe that having adults telling young people to do things is important, but sometimes they hear better from their peers. And so we had, in February as well, we had a meeting with some young people from many different high schools in Howard County, and it was really designed just for them. We didn't bring their parents in. We just brought the young people to talk about what we could do to help with that, and Dr. Sands coordinated as well. And then our Human Rights Commission has been working on the issue, as you would expect it would be, to try to figure out ways in which we can bring young people involved and get more people out there to understand. And actually, there was support to create a student diversity committee that comes out of the Human Rights Commission, and they've been working on a spirit program to try to get more people engaged. And this goes back to the whole here at Tubman School. And when I tell people how important it is for us to save that school, is because I want us to continue to talk about this, because Dr. King said, and one of my favorite quotes, I'm paraphrasing here, is basically, we fail to get along because we don't know each other, and we don't know each other because we fear each other, and we fear each other because we don't talk to each other. And I really believe we have to keep those lines of communication open so that people don't fear each other. And that's kind of what my dad taught me when I was young. I mean, as you can imagine, my father being president of NAACP and the education chair, I often went to meetings where my father and I were the only two white people in the room. I mean, I was the one kid in my family, Otis, who wanted to go to the meetings with my dad when I was a kid. So, I have a strong belief in equal justice and equality, and so we're going to continue to champion it from my bully pulpit, as well as with our Human Rights Commission, as well as with the school system, to make sure that people know it's not acceptable in Howard County to treat people that way.
Well, I want to give you and commend you for the way that you stepped up, your leadership role in that. Even though we certainly know each other, I've been admiring you from afar, the way you've demonstrated clear leadership, even over the last winter with the blizzard. I can't remember a time where the snow was removed so quickly. So kudos to you and your executive team and all of the county folks for the great job that you're doing. Lastly, before we let you go, sure. This is Howard County Executive Allan Kittleman on the phone with us, ladies and gentlemen. Can you talk a little bit about the budget highlights? I know the governor's been in the county talking about transportation projects.
Yep.
Anything else at Howard County Community College? My youngest daughter went through the daycare center, and the upgrades that are going on around Merriweather. We see the buildings, but everyone may not know what's occurring.
Sure, there's lots of going on in Howard County. We're excited about that. I was pleased that the governor has agreed and put money in his budget to help with the expansion of Route 32 to dualize it from Route 108 to Linden Church Road, which we've been told that Route 32 at that portion in the morning and the evening is the sixth most congested roadway in all of Maryland. So think about all the two beltways we have at 95 and 295. And so hopefully we're putting money into it as well. We're sharing the cost with the state. I think that'll be good. And hopefully if our budget gets approved, we'll be able to get work on Route 32 by the end of this fall. But you're right, yeah, we talked about the education budget. We, along with the state, are providing $32 million in new money to our K through 12 education. We're going to be able to fully fund the negotiated teacher salaries, which is certainly something that's near and dear to my heart and yours as well, I'm sure, Otis. We're also funding 56 new positions for teachers to deal with new enrollment we have in Howard County. Many jurisdictions have decreased enrollment. Howard County has increased enrollment. We also are making sure that we fully fund special education in Howard County. Mm-hmm. The individuals who have developmental disabilities and other disabilities, we need to make sure they have the resources in the school system to do what they need to do to help them and their families. So those are high priorities for us. With regard to Merriweather, all downtown Columbia, we're having a lot of revitalization there. The first big building, well, it's actually two cranes in downtown Columbia now for the first time anyone can remember. We have two high rises going up at the same time. One which is going to be the new headquarters for MedStar Health. We're excited that they're staying in Columbia. They're already in Columbia now, but they decided not to move. They're staying in downtown Columbia. We also have Little Patuxent Square, which is being built up. It's already been fully leased. So we have a lot of activity going on around Merriweather Post Pavilion. They're also doing renovations at Merriweather as well. So Columbia turns 50 years old next year, Otis, and so we're hopeful to have a lot of these things going on and showing people that we might be 50 years old in Columbia, but we're still energetic and we're ready to move forward. So yeah, there's lots of happening in Howard County, and if you don't live here, we'd love to have you move here. If you work here, we'd love you working here. But we think we're the greatest place to be. We're the heart of Maryland. We're the only county that doesn't touch another state or the Chesapeake Bay or the ocean, and so we're the heart of Maryland. We want everyone to come and visit us.
Well, Mr. County Executive, I turned 50 this year as well, so let me know where the party is, and I'll come and get a piece of cake.
I passed that a few years ago, Otis. Okay.
Oh, no, I don't believe it. Well, sir, we thank you for your time. Please, anytime you want to come back on, if there's something that you want to get out to the public and share about what's coming in or happening in Howard County or Columbia, please let us know. I know the county fair is going to be coming up. Please feel free to stay in touch with us and let us know what you have going on in the county.
Sure, we'll do that. Dr. Cutler, thank you so much for allowing me to be on. And if any of your listeners want any more information about Howard County, tell them to contact our county. We'll do anything we can to let folks know what's great about us.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to State News and Topics with your host, Dr. Otis Cutler. Join us every first Monday from 11 to 11:30.
There's far too many of you die.